it was so ground floor to what I'm doing now, and like fully knocking on doors, introducing myself, having doors close in my face, all of those stories that you hear. So I start getting better and better at editing, but I'm not seeing any opportunities for growth. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go start my own videography business, try to, and see what happens. Now you look at these last 5 years and it's like, we've got to meet the president, we've got to sit cage shot at the UFC, we've gotten to be on the field for college football playoff games, we've been to the national championship basketball game, we've interviewed guys I've looked up to my whole entire life. It's just crazy to go from that to what has been these last 5 years. And it was truly, I've been like trying to sort of look at it as like math, not math, I'm bad at math, but maybe a math problem of like, though I spent like 2 years of really, really hard work, loneliness, and all kinds of things.
JP, welcome
Yes,
to the
sir.
podcast.
Thanks, man.
How you doing, man?
Doing great. I know you're a familiar face, even though we've never met.
Yeah.
I swear we've met before. I'm excited to get to actually know you.
Maybe it was a past life.
Had to be a past life. Do you know Cam Jensen?
I do not know.
So he went to Citadel also.
Okay.
He's a music agent now.
Right.
We were roommates in Nashville.
Okay.
Y'all got the same great great jaw lines, great chins, great like high cheekbones. Y'all kind of look the same.
We appreciate that.
Handsome guys. Handsome guys.
We appreciate that. That's awesome. That's a great way to start the podcast.
Yeah,
honestly, we've got to compliment the boys more often. I feel like that needs to be the case. But I'm not sure how much you follow this stuff online, but I'm not a maxer or a mogger or whatever the new words
You're
are
not
nowadays.
a looks maxer.
I'm like, dude, all these. I was like, I have no idea what's going on anymore.
No hammer to the chin.
No hammer to the chin. I mean, I've been hit in the face before plenty of times.
Yeah.
So I was like, but there's no hammer to the chin, to say the least.
Dude, that world,
It's a different
I can't
world.
stand.
It's a different world altogether. Well, it's also for show, and I think that's like the other thing too. You're like, okay, like we do podcasts and we love this space, but there's obviously like a level of authenticity to you that you're like, I'm trying to be an authentic guy. Like this is me. I'm not trying to be something else. And those guys are all like they're very much so putting on a show.
Yeah.
I think
A temporary show. I mean, I think it starts out as a show, and then it does become their identity, because it's like, especially that in the stream world, 24 hours a day on camera.
Yeah.
How do you not get lost in it?
Well, like it has to become your identity, especially when you start making big money. You're like, okay, well, I'm now at $1 million a month. The only way to keep this going is to just become more extreme,
Right.
and to max or mog more, whatever the words are now. Once again, we throw them around kind of jokingly in our friend group, and some of our more like, I would consider them more like intellectual individuals in our friend group. They love it because they're like, this is the most hysterical thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's cool to them. Like they finally know something that the kids are doing.
Yeah.
We had Dan Orlovsky come on the podcast that I work for, and at the end of the episode, they took a photo, and Dan was like in the foreground, and so was Taylor. Will was in the background, and they were like, Taylor was like, "Oh, Will, we're mogging you," and Dan, if you've watched Dan Orlovsky on TV, he's like the dad of the year, like the most dad person ever, and he's like, "What's mogging?" And I'm just like, man, imagine just being mid-30s, early 40s. Mogging is taking over the conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like for us too. It's like anything growing up, any new dance, any new word. And I think about like our like middle school and high school teachers, probably like learning all about these new words these kids were bringing to the table. And you're like, what is this kid talking about? Like, this is a new vocabulary. We didn't teach them that.
Dude, I was listening to a podcast with a Navy SEAL. His name was like DJ something, but they were talking about, he was like, dude, in the 70s and 80s, you show up to a job fair and there's 3 people. There's a jacked cop with a mustache, there's a fireman, and there's usually a black Marine that's just doing pull-ups all day. Yeah. And those were the 3 things you wanted to be in the 70s and 80s. He's like, now kids want to be clav, mogging, and doing like TikTok dance and everything. He's like, no, be a fighter pilot. And he says it in kind of like an OD military way. Yeah. But I'm like, that is true. Like the whole, what people want now is just so different.
Well, it's like also, how do you tell a kid that they can't be that, right? It's like, for me, like I wanted to play in MLB as a kid.
Right.
And I told them, I was like, I'm going to be a star baseball player. And then you get to like 10th, 11th grade, and you're like, I don't really like enjoy this as much anymore. And they told me that when I was 8, 9 years old. but I didn't want to listen to it.
Right. They were haters at that
They were
stage.
absolutely haters. And so it's like the same thing. You don't want to tell a kid they can't be something necessarily, but you do kind of want to try. I get it now. You want to try to guide them down a good path, which, serving the military, firefighter, whatever, those are great occupations.
Right.
And we really should be steering more people towards those kinds of occupations. But when you have somebody like a Clout that's making all this money, live streaming and doing all these things, I mean, it's true. Like, why would you not want to potentially do that and live that lifestyle when it looks so appealing online?
Yeah.
But I feel like it does take maybe till, exactly how old you are, but till like roughly 30 years old.
I'm 30.
Yeah, and you hit this age and you're like, well, I don't really know those things matter that much anymore.
Are you 30?
I am. Just turned 30.
How was the week of your 30th?
I turned 30 in December. So.
Oh yeah, right. That's right. We got birthdays right by each other, 1 week apart. Joint birthday party soon.
Yeah, you got to do that.
But how was it? Yeah, true. For those that don't know, I was born on Christmas Day, and my name is JP. I'll let you figure out what the J stands for. But how was your 30th birthday week? Because for me, like, it hit me hard, but it might have just been another day.
Yeah, I think 30 for me was like, it was just another day, and I'm not a big birthday party guy. Never have been a big birthday party guy. And I think more than anything, I was just like, wow, like, we've got to start figuring certain things out. Yeah. But then I also simultaneously realized that there's so much to figure out, and I'm okay with that. I'm like, okay, like, there's still a lot to figure out. But there was the same thing that happened to me at 21, same thing that happened to me at 25, same thing that happened to me at 30. It's probably going to continue to happen the same way. I don't think we ever really fully know everything. Mm-hmm. So we have so much more to learn, which is ultimately what makes life kind of enjoyable too, right? It's
For
like
sure.
There's so much more to find out and figure out. But for my birthday, I was like, yeah, it's just another one. And everybody wants to throw a party. Everybody wants to do all these things. I was abroad. I got engaged that week of my birthday. And so we were abroad. We had a great trip. And I was
Where were y'all?
We did Scotland, and then we went into the Cotswolds and then finished in London. So we did a full UK trip, which is great.
Yeah.
But that's how I like to spend my birthday. I don't want to be at a birthday party necessarily.
Right.
But how about you? I mean, what was kind of the biggest
Dude,
thing?
For whatever reason, and again, my birthday is on Christmas, so birthday parties don't really happen. My wife, she's now thrown me 2 surprise birthday parties, crushed it, and they're a blast.
Yeah.
But, typically it's like my birthday is, not to make everybody feel bad for me, but one of the more forgotten birthdays, because you get your text hey, JP, Merry Christmas, man. Hope you and your family have a great day. Yeah, man, Merry Christmas, whatever. But I'm not as salty as I sound on the show. But they...
you share it with a great individual.
I do. A hard one to live up to. But it was, for whatever reason, I just could not stop thinking about how 15 years from now, I'll be 45, and 15 years ago, I was 15. And I felt so just like, man, how in the heck did we get here? Yeah. And I never wanted to grow up as a kid. I loathed, going from elementary school to middle school to high school. Yeah. I enjoyed all of them. But I never was looking forward to the next step. Right. And it was, I think when I got to 30, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so far away from my childhood, and I'm only getting closer to more of my adulthood. I'm married, I'm 30 years old, but I definitely have more of a kid spirit, childlike mind. And I don't know, dude, 30 was just hit me. And then I'm a deep person. I like to think, I think about a lot of these things, but even more so when I'm 30, it's just dude, what do I really want? And when I'm 45, what the heck do I hope my life is like? And how different do I want it to be than right now? And am I doing the things that's going to make it different than it is right now? And this is all happening in my apartment in Nashville, and I'm just pacing around the room. So it's what happened to you? I'm like, I'm 30. You don't understand. You're still 29.
I told you this story, but I'm training for this 50-miler, and last week during my 20-mile run, which was miserable because I'm a bow-legged guy. I've always been a sprinter. I've never been a long-distance guy. Yeah. My body literally is just not built for it. And the outsides of my knees and my IT band, everything's just hurting terribly. And I got to like mile 11, mile 12, and I kind of started crying. Like it was like a 5-second bit. And I was like, what is going on right now? I was like, is this like am I emotional right now? Or is it just my body reacting to the run? Or am I hurting that bad? And it hit me for a moment. I realized like there's just so much going on in the world, in our lives at this point in your life, in your existence. And it's heavy stuff. And so at random times, I'm not like, guys cry too. Hey, it happens. But it hit me so hard. I was like, why am I crying right now at this point in my life? I was like, I'm super happy.
Yeah.
I was like, but it all just hit me at once. So I don't necessarily pace back and forth, but I do go for long runs right now that lead to kind of the same thing.
I haven't done it since. Hopefully I've been taking the steps in the right direction. But yeah, it was just interesting because I'm like, man, I don't know. There's a part of me that too, when you look back on it, I'm like, it is fun to grow up. Like we were talking before, I've been in my job for 5 years, and recently I've just been thinking, I'm like, man, I'm such a different person than I was 5 years ago to now. And like 5 years in a 75-year lifespan is not crazy, but it's nuts just like how your interests can change. Yep. And I think that's so many people will get stuck and like you do your thing at 26 years old, whatever job you're having. It's like, this is for me. This is all that's for me.
Yep.
And not realizing just like, man, hopefully you've changed. If you haven't changed since you're 26 years old, and if you don't have new interests, like you might need to surround yourself with some different people.
Right. I mean, I think that's kind of one of the main reasons of podcasting too. And like just having these conversations in general is to meet new people and to think about different things from a different perspective, or think about things from a different perspective. And this has been eye-opening to me and super humbling too over the past couple of years of having these conversations and having these experiences. But what I do find is that there's a lot of consistencies across the board. And you have met with some incredible people over the past 5 years too. And I do want to talk a lot about your experience as a producer and all the above. But I'm sure it's been kind of a bit of a roller coaster, like having these conversations with these folks that have done incredible things, and they're still doing incredible things, but there's still like something they're looking for. They're still trying to like reach across the board. Yeah. And I think for me, you try to be as fulfilled as possible in everything you do, but there's like always like there's something else. Like you're trying to find something else in yourself. And a lot of people look for like spirituality and religion to fill that void and fill that gap. And I think it does to a certain degree. But I think there's also a human element for us. It's like, wow, this is kind of wild that I still desire other things.
Right.
Even though my 15-year-old self would be like, whoa, dude, it's kind of cool that, you're doing certain things now. I never would have expected you to have even done those things.
Right.
So let's just dive into Bussin' With The Boys though. You started that 5 years ago?
Yeah, May 2021. So actually around this time is when I moved to Nashville.
Cool. And you've been with them obviously ever since. Y'all have traveled all over the country. And have y'all done any world travel?
No world travel. We've tried, but other outer forces prevailed.
Gotcha. But let's just talk about that for a minute. What does that look like? How's that been?
Yeah, I mean, it's been cool because before Bussin' With The Boys, I was living in Florida, and I worked at IMG Academy for a little while, and I was basically your freshman year RA. Or do y'all have RAs at Citadel?
I mean, something similar.
Yeah,
but
you know what they are.
Yeah.
But
we have like TAC officers that overlook battalions and people on each floor. Everybody has different roles, but
I was like they call it like a house parent too there. So when I first started there, I was with a lot of the different high schoolers going to different floors, different sports, whatever. Then for a full school year, I was with middle schoolers. And it's like one of me and 50 kids that are all boarding from all over the world. And it was fun. I love working with kids, love pouring into them. But it was hard. Emotionally, it was hard. And the whole time I'm like building my videography skills in hopes to like, let me go, maybe I'll get in on the marketing side, social media side of IMG, because all kinds of pro athletes train there or whatever. So I start getting better and better at editing, but I'm not seeing any opportunities for growth. So I'm like, I'm just going to go start my own videography business, and see what happens. Florida, tons of people, tons of great athletes live there, tons of MMA gyms, tons of tennis, tons of football, all things I'm into. And so I started, and actually Steven Garcia, who we were talking about before, former Gamecock quarterback, he's going through stage 4 colon cancer right now. But he was one of the first guys that I was working with. And I met him through this other guy, Matt Jones, who played running back at Florida. But Steven was there throwing, and I'm a lifelong Gamecock fan. And see Steven Garcia there, and I'm like, oh snap, and we become friends. Awesome relationship.
Cool.
But the business, I don't know how to run a business. I don't know what to charge people. I don't know how much I really need to like each month to make ends meet, whatever. And so I knew that whatever I was making over in Bradenton wasn't enough. So I moved over to Boca Raton, Florida, and that's where I started to like get my footing a little bit, working with a lot of MMA gyms, a lot of tennis players, tennis academies. And that's when the Bussin With The Boys opportunity came up. And the reason I'm giving any kind of backstory is because it was so ground floor to what I'm doing now, and like fully knocking on doors, introducing myself, having doors close in my face, all of those stories that you hear. And now you look at these last 5 years, and it's like we've got to meet the president, we've got to sit cage shot at the UFC, we've gotten to be on the field for college football playoff games, we've been to the national championship basketball game, we've interviewed guys I've looked up to my whole entire life. And it wasn't but 5 years ago that, you know, I was making like $1,000 a month and could only live there because my boy Juan Puerta was letting me pay rent for $600 a month. But it's also crazy that
find you a boy that'll let you pay $600 a month.
Find you Juan Puerta in Boca Raton, Florida.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, man, it's just crazy to go from that to what has been these last 5 years.
Yeah.
And it was truly, I've been like trying to sort of look at it as like math, not math. I'm bad at math, but maybe a math problem of like, okay, so I spent like 2 years of really, really hard work, loneliness, and all kinds of things. But it got me 5 years of lifetime experiences. Like that trade-off is so worth it. Yeah. But I've just like, man, as you try to level up, it's like it gets harder and harder because you get to make more money, you get a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, so it's been, the last 5 years have been a dream compared to the two years prior to that.
Right. And I mean, once again, you've met some incredible people along the way, built a lot of skills. I mean, earlier we were talking about production and sitting in this studio and all the things that I can do. And frankly, I appreciate all the insight and
sure.
all of the, I mean, I just think it's going to be very helpful in helping me to level up what we're doing here, which if anybody's been watching any of my stuff over the years, they know that a lot of that's been like garbage content because I've just been trying to just get it out.
Yeah.
But when you realize how much goes into this, once again, I have mad respect for what you do.
Yeah.
Now that I've been doing it and trying to do it. But for those that are listening in, JP's been sharing a bunch of his knowledge over the past like 30 minutes with me. Different tools, different kits, you know, roadcasters, all this different stuff and technology. And you're like, there's so much that goes into this, but also it can be as simple as just picking up your phone and recording on your phone to get things started. And I think for those that are like maybe getting started and thinking about getting started in this space too, when you think about doing any kind of recording or anything in life, people like to overcomplicate things and say, oh, you have to get all this stuff or do all these things. Yes, it does make it easier to have the technology and tools. But more than anything, it's like you just got to get started. You just got to do something. Just move in the right direction and like start surrounding yourself with good people and start surrounding yourself with people that are actually going to support you in whatever it is that you're planning on doing. Because obviously now 5 years later, you've been with Bussin' the Boys and the podcast has grown significantly.
Yeah. Big time.
And y'all are crushing it. So
yeah.
True testament to all the work that the guys have put in. Plus, obviously, the folks on the back end that are making it happen.
Right.
Well.
And, dude, you're so right with just, like, especially the equipment. Like, it's so easy to convince yourself of a million reasons for, like, why not to do something.
Yep.
I need this thing. I need that. Like, nothing will work if I don't have this. But, dude, I mean, YouTube was literally built on people, like, screwing around with – they didn't even have camera phones. And then I don't really like Logan Paul, but, like, what he built is insane.
Yeah.
And that was all from his phone and like mini cameras, and they uploaded every single day for a year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can be mad and hate on him, but it's like, okay, like you can go out there and film and upload a video for 365 days,
right.
But you won't because it's hard. And now he's getting to live a great life because he was willing to like face the hard. But even in Bussin', dude, like some of our best content is truly just off the phone.
Yeah.
And it's in all of the real time content. Like, it's not the long form vlog video that I'm making. It's not the podcast clip. It's when a guest walks through the doors and you're filming it on your phone and something random happens and you just upload it and it's like, boom.
We talk a lot about on this podcast. I told you before, it's a lot of politics and business and conspiracy theories. And the one that I'm releasing probably next week, it was with a guy who's been abducted multiple times his entire life. And the past abduction experience was him on a spacecraft, and he actually videoed it. And we have the film or the video to analyze, and we analyzed it in the last podcast. All these random things. But I think about a lot of those things. I think about the sensationalism now online, like everything's sensationalized and all this information gets shared and it's like doomsday, end of the world, whatever. And like that seems like the way to get people's attention, which it does, but you're almost kind of manipulating people into getting their attention. And I've become a lot less of a fan. I'm not a huge fan of that anymore. I'm just like, I've never really been a fan of it, but it is what evokes like an emotional response from individuals. And so I have this opinion with all the podcasts and all the stuff that's starting in the media space that like authenticity is gonna win at the end of the day. When you see like Sean Hannity now has his own show where he's like trying to chill out and be more like Tucker Carlson, and all these guys are trying to be more relaxed. So a camera angle of you just talking is like the most authentic version of yourself. Just you with your camera hanging out and having a conversation. So I think that's my opinion of the next 5, 10, 15 years is more of that will win overall.
Definitely. And it's crazy because in the political world, like I love the game of it, like how these people are getting the influence over everyone. Like, how did Donald Trump win? Why did Kamala Harris lose? Because to me, it's all like that social strategy now is everything. And the people that win that are winning the elections. And what was interesting is we interviewed RFK like while he was running for president. And obviously, everybody felt a whole lot different about RFK when he was running compared to they do now, because everybody believed in the things that he was running for, or that group of people believed in the things he was running for. Then when he stopped, they're like, we actually hate him. Crazy. But one of the most high-profile people in the country's history, just with his family. And, you know, we have athletes on all the time, musicians that they want to see the episode after, get things cut out. Probably shouldn't have said this, probably shouldn't have said that. RFK's team, post it.
Straight through.
Whatever y'all think is going to do best, post it. And I'm like, wow. Like, but unnamed starting running back in the NFL doesn't want X, Y, and Z thing because it could make him look whatever. And I'm like, that's rare. And it's why I think he had success. And it's why a lot of those people have success. But it's so fascinating to watch.
Agreed. It is, I mean, whether I like it or not, I think more so from an editing perspective, it just takes a lot of time to edit things out.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
that's why I don't do it more than anything. It's like, it just takes so much time.
Like, you got no idea that you could have just lost some votes. You asking me to edit this thing out just because it's going to take me an hour to go do it.
And it is so true that like in the last election cycle, though, I mean, Trump did dominate the podcast scene. Like he dominated the podcast scene. And on the Democratic side, they just they didn't care to hop on as many podcasts. Now they're doing it. Very clearly now they're doing it. But that media strategy is also wild to analyze and review over time. Not saying I'm leaning in any direction now. I'm very independent in my political views at this point.
Yeah, a million percent.
And I like staying independent in my views because, frankly, I think there's a lot of information. There's new information that comes out every day that as I consume more knowledge and information, some of it might be disinformation, but as I consume more of it, my opinions on things change literally on a daily basis. And I think that's okay. Personally, but some people be like, oh, you have to pick a camp and go with it. I'm like, no, that's not how I feel about it.
Independent, man. It's the way to go.
I don't know how you feel about like sports teams, but who are your sports teams?
I'm pretty much just a Gamecock through and through. So growing up, I was like a Falcons fan, but I was a Falcons fan because Michael Vick, like, you know, I'm at the time when Vick's coming up, I'm like 8 years old, 9 years old, which is peak. Your brain is just ready to get imprinted with whoever the best, most fun NFL player is or college football player. And Michael Vick was that guy.
He was the man.
And I'm somebody that I defend Michael Vick to this day.
Still.
Okay. Oh, it's in a fun way.
From a football perspective, I'm assuming like
football perspective.
Okay, just football.
I am all about Michael Vick's redemption arc as well. I think he's doing amazing. Like him going and taking a job at Norfolk State, which HBCU, like the amount of kids that look up to Michael Vick, and especially these kids that he's coaching, like the amount of lives that he's going to be able to change is awesome. And he has the story of like, guys, like this is what happens when you surround yourself with the people that I surrounded myself with.
Right.
You get into bad situations, and it will still blow my mind that he had to do like 60 days solitary confinement at one point. And it's like, wow. So I'm all about the redemption arc. I'm not about the dogfighting. I didn't defend that.
Got it. As long as we can draw that line too. I was like, let's just make sure we
wait, hang on 1 second.
Cool.
But I forgot what was the.
I don't know. We're talking about Michael Vick and dogfighting. I'm kind of.
Oh, my sports fans.
Yep.
I was a Falcons fan like growing up.
Yep.
But as I got older, I just wasn't into the NFL as much. And I really just kind of followed my college guys to the NFL. So whatever team they're on.
Gotcha.
I support them. And I love being a fan. And I think what's cool, there's definitely a lot of unhealthy fans out there where I'm like, you got to let this get, like, at the end of the day, these are college kids. And like, we're fans of South Carolina. Like, we're not going to win every game. We lost the Citadel. But
such a great game. Such a great game.
Crazy game.
Crazy game.
And, but it's cool because, like, my fandom has helped me in the industry that I'm in.
Yep.
Like, it made me more of a desirable candidate for the job because, like, oh, he loves SEC football.
Right.
He loves South Carolina, and South Carolina has a big fan base at the end of the day. And have been able to, like, evoke emotions out of South Carolina fans just by sharing my fandom.
Right.
And it's cool to see, like, the thing that you love so much as a kid become an asset for you when you're an adult.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people, it's like, in most industries, you know, your fandom doesn't matter at all. But it's like, how many kids you know growing up, what they want to do is be a broadcaster or do something with sports?
Something around sports, all of us.
Right.
Every single one of us.
And it's like, you get to college and a lot of the jobs are low paying, and especially in the beginning. But, like, you kind of lose your fandom of the game just because of, you know, I don't know, like the things that you end up wanting out of life. Right. So it's been cool that, like, the fandom has helped.
This is just a fun side conversation, but when I think about, like, kids that want to do things, especially after, like, you graduate college and then you want to be in an industry or you want to be, like, around this, you want to be in sports of some kind or an organization, and they're like, oh, well, the pay's not near as good. You're like, well, the way that I look at it is if you know for a fact you want to be in that space, those are the people you need to be around. And frankly, like, take the job, take the gig, figure it out. Exactly. Find yourself a friend that'll charge you $500, $600 a month for rent, and, like, go do that, because you're the people you network with and have those experiences with more than anything are going to lead to better opportunities long term. And maybe this is just the way that society has screwed with our brains nowadays, but you think, oh, I graduate college, I've got this degree, I should be making $1 million a year or whatever the amount is that people think they should be making. When it's like, no, like, this is a grind, this is a process. Right. And unless you already have the network and you're a trust fund baby, you don't necessarily have it. And that is totally fine. But I think taking that role, and I've got a couple friends that are still doing it right now that are with these organizations because they love the sport. Yeah. One friend in particular he's a basketball coach, and he's, like, watching him work his way up the ranks has been really cool, but also he just loves it. And you're like, dude, go do that. Because eventually, you're going to be asked to become the head basketball coach and or GM or whatever, and you're going to be making plenty of money, and it's going to be the best experience of your life. But I feel like too many people drop out too early on because it's just not necessarily paying as much. Yeah. And as I know it's difficult for me because I was the same way. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Right. I want to make money. But if you are that passionate about something and you know for a fact that that's what you want to be doing, stick in and be around that environment. Yeah. All the time.
The environment is everything too, because that first gym that I was finally found some footing in South Florida, Michael Chandler, he trained at that gym, and he's, for those that don't know, Mike Chandler, he's a UFC fighter, like was one of the top guys for a while, and somebody I looked up to a lot. I just love everything he's about. And so, I get to know him just a little bit, nothing crazy. But when Will puts up his Instagram story about the Bussin With The Boys job, and I go search up their podcast and I see Michael Chandler's been a guest, I go to Michael Chandler. I'm like, hey, what's the deal with these guys? You like them? Like, I'm just starting interviewing. Oh, those are my boys. You do good work here, I'll put in good work for you there. And it's like all that happens because of just the relationship and networking. And I didn't know Michael Chandler knew these guys. I didn't know I'd be applying for a job with them. Right. but the world is a lot smaller than we think.
The world is a lot smaller than people think. And also like Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and whatever. I mean, like you are a message away. Like, and especially, you know, the way that we met was through Instagram.
Yeah.
And a friend was like, oh, like y'all should connect. But just like, you got to put it out into the universe. You got to say like, this is what I'm looking to do. Or I'm interested in this. And especially for people like myself, where like you might have a million different interests and different things. You're like, I don't really know what it is, but put it out there, go meet with somebody, and then you'll realize if it's what you want to do or not want to do. And just keep going. But don't stop putting it out into the universe.
Right. Yeah. Like people will complain all the time about not having what they want and people not helping them get what they want, but they've never told anybody what they want.
Yeah.
And except outside of their just like close friend. It's like your close friend is not going to do much. And there's this book. It's called The Defining Decade. Have you read it?
I've not, no. But
Dude, it's cool.
Familiar with it, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
I'm also not a big reader. I need to read a lot more.
Are you an audiobook guy?
I'm a big audiobook guy, yeah.
So when somebody asks you like how many books did you read this year, do you give them like
no, I'm like I don't. I just like I read a bunch online. I read a bunch of articles and like, but I don't necessarily read a book from start to finish.
Reason I ask that is because I take issue with the people that are like, oh man, I've read 10 books this month, and I'm like, yeah, well, hang on, I can't let audiobooks slide.
Yeah, exactly. I listen to a lot of content.
Right.
Do I read from start to finish? Very rarely.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Gotta get better at that.
Yeah, but it was in the book. I think Meg J is the name of the lady that wrote it, but she talks about the strength of weak ties and how those like one-off connections are way more likely to help you than your like inner circle. And she breaks down the psychology of it that I don't have down off the top of my brain. But truly, like every single, I feel like major connection I've had in my life has come from like weak ties. And it's fascinating to observe like from a zoomed out perspective. And I'm like, man, it's just, you have to network. You've got to network.
I've never thought about it like that, but that's so true though.
Yeah.
But just like the saying weak ties, I've always thought it as like, I have to build really strong relationships with all these people in order to get to this next level, or in order to reach what I want next. I've also struggled with like asking for something from somebody, because you don't want to use up like that relationship. You don't want to abuse that relationship. You appreciate that you have that connection, but you don't want to abuse it. But there's nothing wrong with just like throwing out an ask. Be like, hey, would you mind connecting me with this person?
Right.
Especially if you have something valuable to offer or you believe you have.
It's just like this. I mean, like Jake and I are friends, but we're not like close friends.
Right.
But he was the one that messaged on my Instagram and was like, hey, I have a friend that does this. Let me get you connected. Yeah. And now, in a couple hours, hopefully I'll have one of my bigger guests on my podcast because of Jake putting us together. Right. And it's like, that's a perfect example of
absolutely
the strength of
you got to appreciate, but you also have to know what you want too. I think that's the other thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know that I think a lot of us don't really know exactly what we want. I think that's one of the biggest things is once you figure out what you want and then you put it out into the universe, then it starts to come to you. Yeah. But until you really can define what that is, it's hard for anybody, whether you're spiritual or religious, hard for anything to give you any. It's hard for the universe to give you anything if you don't know what you want to begin with. You can't be like, oh, I just kind of want to make money. It's like, well, that's great, but you can go make money, but are you doing it in the way that you want to do it?
You got to be detailed.
Right.
That's why I know somebody, I can't remember if they came to speak to a class or something, but it was like, they asked somebody, like, what's your dream? What's your dream? What do you want? Type question. I want to be a sportscaster. Okay, like, for what company? What sport do you want to cover? Who do you want to work next to you? And there's like, the more, clarity is everything, or like, I forget the exact like quote for it, but basically the more detailed you can get, the more clear the path becomes.
So true though.
And it's hard though, like, because I went to speak to a college class last year and it was my first time. I was super nervous, but till I was using it on some of those kids, they're like, dude, these are the things I'm interested in. Can you help? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, what do you want? Right. I want this. And you ask a few more questions. It's like, I can't help you until you can answer these like 5 other questions. And I'm like, man, I wish somebody would have been telling me this stuff in college too, because I didn't know.
But then your desires and wants in life change too. I mean, I think that's kind of the other part of it. anyways, we could go down that road
Yeah.
for hours. But I do think about it often because of like the podcast and other things. It's like, what do I really want here? Like with the podcast. And I think more than anything, it's like it was a discovery. I wanted discovery. I wanted to learn different things.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody to challenge the way I thought about things. And I think I got that now, but it's like, okay, what does the next level look like? And you really do need to be very clear about like what you want for growth.
Right.
For growth in the future. Speaking of growth and think of other things as well, you have multiple other avenues, podcasts. You can talk about those for a little bit.
Yeah, Make It to Midnight, which is what the reason that we got connected also, is podcast that the idea started back when I was living in Florida, because like I said, I've had some very like hard weeks, months, days, and very lonely. And so I was just talking to my dad on the phone one day as I'm walking on the beach, and just like, man, this does not feel like it's working. Like, I'm not making any money. I don't really have that many friends. And every one of my friends back in South Carolina has jobs. They're, going out on the weekends. They're going back to football games. They're doing all these fun things. Like, this sucks. Like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And he just dropped a line on me. He's like, you just got to make it to midnight every single day. Says you never know what could happen in those next 24 hours, but you got to make sure you show up for them.
Yeah.
Or else, we can guarantee nothing is going to happen for you.
Yep.
And that just stuck in my head. And so that would have been in 2020. And now probably, I guess it was 2025. Yeah. Maybe 2020, end of 2024 is when I finally started Make It to Midnight. And because I love like motivational speakers. I love
big David Goggins guy.
Yeah, I had my David Goggins phase. I feel like everybody has a David Goggins phase. Yeah. We met David Goggins one time.
Very cool.
And it was exactly how I would hope it would be. He told us to stay hard. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I will for sure.
Carrying the boats.
Yeah, like I'm actually going to run back to Nashville from Las Vegas just to show you. Like,
that's awesome. And vlog the whole thing.
Yeah. So I love all those things. I love quotes. Yep. I love different like small essays that people can write. So let me just like start this page with the goal of like helping people make it to midnight through this inspirational, motivational content.
Right.
So I started out because my job has me very busy. Like I'll just find clips that I like in the beginning of the video. I'll share why I like it and then enjoy this clip. And then I knew that I would want to grow it into a podcast where I'm sitting down with people that have stories that I believe could help people make it to midnight, whether it's educational, motivational, anything. Everybody has something that, they can give to someone else. And so then this year is when I started doing my first interviews and starting to get some more long form content out there. And similar to you, like I also just want to connect with more people and learn from people.
Right.
Because that's the number one goal I'm trying to do every single day is learn something. And having a podcast it's like, for whatever reason, it's kind of easier to get a stranger to come onto your podcast than it is to like, hey, let's go get coffee.
Right. Well, they have a reason to
Right.
like then meet and they're like, wow, this is valuable. This is cool. I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Versus let's just grab coffee, but for what? What's the point of
Right.
grabbing coffee? Just to pick my brain?
Yeah.
So can I pick your brain over a podcast? And they're like, oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's my goal there. And I think especially now with how many kids, like, anxiety rates are through the roof, depression rates, suicide rates, all of these things are just rising.
Yeah.
And it's all from the cell phone. And so everybody's on their phone. They're all doom scrolling. And if I can make something that can stop a doom scroll and, shift whatever is happening in their brain to something positive, that's like my number one goal of it. And it's been cool. Like, obviously still very much in growth phases, but we're starting to get some momentum on some guests being interested. And then, just those random messages that you get one-off that like just keep you going enough. Yep. And so that's been awesome. And that's my passion project. That's, if you were to ask me like, where do you hope you are in 10 years? It's like, I hope I'm doing Make It to Midnight full time. And we're telling stories and, recording stories that are changing a whole lot of people's lives. Because there's the podcast game, everybody's doing it, but it's still like, there's still so much meat left on the bone that people don't realize.
In its infancy.
Yeah, everybody's doing it, but but very few people are doing it well.
Yeah.
And, now you got guys doing podcasts that are premiering in like movie theaters.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's still just scratching the surface.
Right.
And so I have some ideas that I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, if I get the time, then to carry those out. So that's my make it to midnight goals. And the other one, just a fun one, The Slice. I do a tennis podcast. Tennis is really what got me my first work with professional athletes. My guy, Denis Shapovalov, he was 19 years old at the time, top 20 player in the world. And he was training at IMG, and I went out there like, hey, you mind if I take some photos, videos of you? I can send it to you. He's like, bro, I never have any content. Like, that would be awesome. So we grew a friendship, and that's also where I realized the opportunity. I'm like, this guy is top 20 in the world in a sport that's global popularity is insane. What does that mean for everybody else?
Right.
And so I host a tennis podcast where we just kind of cover what's going on the tour. But I would love to pour more into tennis too, because those guys are missing out on a lot of money. Sports fans, they used to love tennis in the 70s and 80s. Now they don't. And
have they transitioned to pickleball now?
Dude, I saw you were grinding pickleball last night.
Yeah.
I like pickleball.
I mean, it's fun recreationally.
It's
so much fun recreationally.
I played pickleball with Jack Sock one time.
Nice.
And I was pretty nervous for that.
I'm sure. How did that go?
I was on his team, so
okay.
We won, but the matches got a little tight, and I started to feel a little bit like, I know I'm the one. Like they're starting to aim at me, and they're trying to come back right now. So that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But cool experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, tennis, the stories, how you can storytell and package content will like determine so much popularity, and tennis players are behind on it. They're the only sport that you don't really see guys with podcasts or like full on social media presences. You just see like Carlos Alcaraz doing something cool, and he's the man, but like the marketing of the athlete is just not where it needs to be.
Well, I've thought about this a lot with like the marketing of like long distance runners, especially. But we went to the Leadville 50 last year. The guy that won it, he ran like a 7:14, 7:15 pace for the 50 miler, up and down. I mean, at a 10,000 to 12,000 elevation the entire time, and that guy like is not known at all. Like he wins. These guys come out and they win these things. And, it kind of applies to all sports, but they win these things. There's just not any, like, there's no PR for that individual. Not that there has to be, but I've always found it incredible that the guys that are, they're finishing them, but they're not necessarily winning them, tend to be the guys with a much bigger online presence.
Right.
And you're like, it's how do you find those guys, though, to, like, train you and support you and work with you that are literally winning these things, but have zero online presence? And it's just been mind-boggling to me that they still don't have any kind of online presence when you know how much they could capitalize on it, but they're just doing it for the love of the game, and or the love of whatever it is that they're doing. That for me has been cool, but also kind of humbling too. Yeah, you're like, okay, I don't know that I will never be at that level. It's also like a 21, 22-year-old kid that just has an incredible VO2 max, probably like 70, 80 right now. But I find that to be kind of wild too. It's like, is the goal here to market myself, or is the goal, and it depends on the person, or is the goal to compete and be the best version of myself? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like nowadays, more than anything, it's like, are we marketing ourselves to become a better version of ourselves? Or are we marketing ourselves because we maybe feel like we're missing something? Yeah. When the guys that are winning are the guys that sometimes have zero online presence. Like, what has he done to get into the right mental state to be able to compete at that level and not give a flying F who sees him online? I'm like, how do I get there? That's like ego death to a different degree. Right. And once again, we're in the media space. Like, we're not going to get there. It's just different. Yeah. But I also think about that from a personal perspective of like, how do I get to that mental state of not caring at all and just doing it for the love of the game?
I know. One of my favorite little phrases in the creative world is like, document, don't create. Yeah. And I feel like that's where those top athletes could benefit from, is like, you don't have to put on this, like, your brand doesn't have to be this like cultivated thing. Right. You just literally need somebody following you around and like, leave it at that. Keep your distance. Yeah. That's how those guys can make it. But it's fascinating. It's like, if that guy wasn't how he is, like, would he be the number one runner? And I don't know. it's just crazy. Like, could you name a male American tennis player right now?
I mean, I could name maybe 2 or 3, but like no. I mean, like I'm not a tennis guy.
But even think like, who are the 2 or 3 that you know?
So like American guys would be like friends of mine that like I played in high school. Like I couldn't even name like a professional tennis player right now.
Exactly.
I could name guys that I like grew up with that I knew that played tennis that still play, but they're not professionals.
But it's like you don't know the number 1 male tennis player.
You're speaking to like the guy that does not watch I don't watch any sports right now. Like I am just like completely disconnected from sports altogether. So I won't act like I do know. But I think of like guys from high school, but thinking about like American tennis players, I do have a couple of friends though that it's wild how much they know about sports.
Yeah.
And when you ask them, they're like, oh, I could name 50 right off the top of my head. I'm like, I just don't pay attention. Dude. So to your point though, they need better marketing.
Because it's like, it's nuts to me that the number 1 American male tennis player,
which is who?
Taylor Fritz.
Okay.
Or actually, sorry, Ben Shelton.
Okay.
They kind of flip flop.
Okay.
But it's like that sport is the global popularity is crazy. Like he has a bunch of followers.
Yep.
But in the U.S., they just don't. And he actually does a good job with his media.
Yep.
But he dates Dennis Rodman's daughter, who Trinity Rodman. She doesn't have a good relationship with Dennis.
Okay.
Rightfully so, probably. But it's just, it's wild.
He's an eclectic character.
Yeah. He gets into North Korea.
Yeah. I don't know if you probably didn't watch any of these, but I have a girl that's now come on the podcast twice who takes tourists into North Korea, Afghanistan, Syria, and Afghanistan. And she's from the UK, but she lives in Taiwan. Yeah. And adventure tourism is her job. Wow. And so she leads people on these tours into these different countries. And I'm like, that's nuts to me.
What a scary job.
Dennis Rodman would love her.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go hang out.
I only know one person that's been there, and he's actually traveled to every country in the world.
That's sick.
I'm not super close with him, but we can test the strength of weak ties. See if he'll come on your show.
That is so cool. I'm going to start using that. Though,
yeah.
It's so true, though, that the weak ties are the ones that tend to connect you because they don't think about all the past experiences with you. They're just like, oh, cool stuff he's doing. I'm sure this would be of value to this person. Let's connect them.
Exactly.
It's just like it's easier that way.
Dude, I know. And even when I had a similar thing where I was able to connect this guy that one of my friends from college knows that's a videographer. I wasn't able to go to a tennis tournament, but my Dennis, he needed somebody to do content. Let me ask around.
Right.
So I asked a guy that I'm not even that close with, but we went to college together, and I know he's like a high achiever.
Right.
Hey, do you have anybody for this? He sends us in a group text because I'm always a little bit too wordy when I get linked in the group chat. He says, hey, JP, I got Yazim in the group chat. Both sides have more context. I'll leave y'all to it.
Love it.
And I'm like, that's the perfect introduction message. Yep. Brandon Terp, he's out of it. He did his job, connected us. Me and this dude, we hit it off, and then we connect, and it's like...
And he's also not looking for anything at the moment. I think that's the biggest thing, too. You have to disconnect from, like, a desire or, like, a want or a need and be like, listen, I'm just connecting because I see value here, and I think this is going to be valuable to these guys and gals to connect. But if you disconnect from, like, needing something from every single situation, it's almost like when the universe starts to get back to you to a certain degree. Exactly. And you say, hey, how can I literally help you, or how can I connect you? I don't necessarily need anything out of it right now. Hopefully, good karma does come back.
Right.
But you've now, that particular individual that connected you, you've now put him up on a high pedestal. You're like, this is so cool.
Exactly.
And so when you need something in the future, or he needs something in the future, you're probably the first to be like, I got you. I know exactly who to connect you to.
Exactly. So it's just fascinating. Yeah. And just the connections from school that like end up being the ones that help you.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
absolutely. I do appreciate the one-off messages from random people who are like, dude, this is so sick. Like,
yeah.
And you're like, why? Some days I think to myself, why am I doing the podcast, or why am I doing any of this? And I'm like, what's the point of literally any of this? And you get a random message from somebody, and you're like, that's why.
Right. And that's when kind of back to the the authenticity, I think we're in such a massive AI bubble right now where like AI is everything. Yep. It's making things easier. It's making people a lot of money, but it's also being shoved down our throats on like every article that's written, every tweet you see. Yep. It's, here's how you can make $10,000 a month using AI. Like, follow this thread. And ultimately, like, I like to believe, and maybe I'm so far off on it, but I've got to believe that people, when the bubble pops, they're going to be yearning for the human connection even more.
Yep.
And the more that you're able to build that connection during the AI, like, period, the better off you're going to be, like, once it does pop. And that's why I even try, like, I'll use AI a little bit on some of my clips, or like maybe to help me with my titling. I try to make a point of it of like, dude, you got to do this, because at the end of the day, like, it's going to push through the BS. Right. And a lot of it is BS right now. But it sucks because I'm sitting there and it's taking me way longer than it should. Yep. And I'm trying to balance, like, all right, like, how do we optimize? Like, but I see all these images of the brain when people are using AI and how there's just zero activity going on. Yep. And I'm like, that scares me.
Yeah, this is necessary. Like, this has to keep happening. And I think subconsciously, another reason I'm doing this is because I see the same thing happening, and I've been using AI a lot for, like, everything. Right. And I'm like, I get into this weird kind of like doom scrolling, thing where it's like the same thing with AI. You start using too much AI, you're kind of like doom scrolling with AI. Right. And you're like, what is going on? Like, we thrive on human connection. We are human. At least I think we're still human to a certain degree. But what happens when that becomes like our everything? We're going to rely on these human interactions. We're going to rely on more like concert venues and in-person activities. Right. And yes, obviously this is to produce online content, but it should be done to say, hey, it's a good idea to go get around friends and like go have conversations with people. Do a little, scrolling, watch a podcast from time to time, whatever, but go get in front of people and go make those human connections, because that's where all your value is going to be at the end of the day. And I also think like the hantavirus now, and AI and wars and everything else that's going on, which I let consume me, like it's all consuming. Yeah. And I have to completely back away and realize that at the end of the day, the only reason we do this is for these kinds of conversations and interactions. Right. Which are most important.
Man. That's why I think podcasts are still just in the earliest phases, because people are getting worse and worse at talking to each other. Yep. So it's a rare skill. Yep. And for the history of time, the people with the rare skills always like rise up.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely
cool.
Anything else you want to add at the kind of the concluding part of this episode? Anything fun you want to add in there? Shout outs, etc. Plugs. Yeah. Bussin' With The Boys plugs. Podcast plugs.
Yeah, follow Bussin' WTB. Yeah. We just got to 700K subscribers on YouTube.
That's wild.
So maybe we push to 1 million. And then for sure follow Make It to Midnight, my passion project. Hopefully that'll be the one that we can change the world with, change some lives with. And yeah, of course, shout out to Gamecock Nation, always. But I appreciate you having me on, dude. It's been cool. Cool to get to know you.
Yeah, good getting to know you too. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing all the wonderful things that come out of the podcast and everything else you have going on.
Boom, appreciate it, bro.
All right, man.